Right now on Good Morning America, first look. The gambling scandal rocking the NBA. Current and former players and a head coach arrested. Their alleged ties to the Mafia. What we're learning now about the charges. And an expert shows us some of the cheating devices allegedly used to rig high-stakes card games. Everything from a so-called X-ray poker table to invisible barcodes on the cards.
New clashes in multiple cities. Crowds protesting the federal immigration crackdown. The new lawsuit now filed.
Backlash over the demolition at the White House. The entire East Wing now gone. The non-disclosure agreements being signed by workers and the historic trees chopped down.
Alabama carries out a controversial execution by nitrogen gas. The highly unusual response at the Supreme Court.
A new setback for Prince Andrew for his alleged ties to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This new punishment typically reserved for traitors to the crown.
Kim Kardashian reveals her brain aneurysm diagnosis, just how common they are, and their link to stress.
Plus, Nike's new shoe redefining what it means to have a bounce in your step.
And the funniest photos of the year in wildlife photography.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America, First Look.
Good Friday morning, everyone. I'm Mola Lenghi.
And I'm Maggie Rulli. Let's get right to that gambling and cheating scandal involving the NBA and the Mafia.
Yeah, former and current players, even a head coach under arrest. And now an expert is showing us some of the cheating devices allegedly used to rig poker games. Everything from a so-called X-ray table to invisible barcodes on cards. But first, the accusations as the suspects head to court.
New reaction to the gambling scandal rocking the NBA.
I'm ashamed that those guys will put their families and their careers in jeopardy.
Chauncey Billups, a Hall of Fame player and current coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, and Terry Rozier of the Miami Heat, both seen leaving court. They're among more than 30 people arrested, accused of running schemes that made millions by allegedly rigging sports bets and poker games. Billups and another former player, Damon Jones, are accused of working with the Mafia, using their celebrity status to lure wealthy people to illegal poker games that were rigged.
Everybody else at the poker game, from the dealer to the players, including the face cards, were in on the scam.
The technology allegedly used in the scheme is like something out of Mission Impossible. The FBI says the suspects used special glasses and contact lenses that could read invisible markings on cards. Casino security expert Sal Piasante showed us some of the technology.
I can't tell you what that top card is, but if I pop in contact lenses, or if I'm wearing my poker glasses, when you look at that card through that filter, you'll see what that card is.
The FBI says the suspects also used card shufflers that were rigged and used what's described as an X-ray poker table that allowed them to see face-down cards through the felt on the table. They also allegedly used what's known as an analyzer. It looks like a cell phone, but when placed in front of a deck of cards, it uses a hidden camera to determine which player will win, no matter how well the deck is shuffled.
This deck is marked invisibly on the side with a barcode. So when this deck gets shuffled and gets placed onto the table, this camera right now is scanning those cards, and it's going to tell you automatically who's going to win.
The device correctly predicting the hand closest to the device will win.
And you win with a full house, 3s and 5s.
Experts say the sophisticated scheme shows that the Mafia has modernized.
Everyone talks about the Mafia getting smaller, going away. Mafia doesn't go away. They will change based upon the law and how they can make money.
In a separate indictment, Rozier was charged in connection with an illegal sports gambling scheme.
Terry Rozier, right foot discomfort, doubtful to return.
Prosecutors say during this game in 2023, Rozier, then with the Hornets, tipped off bettors that he would fake an injury and exit the game. Bettors placed more than $200,000 on him to underperform in the game.
The proceeds were later delivered to his home, where the group counted their cash.
Rozier and Billups deny the allegations, their lawyers vowing to fight in court. With both men making millions in salary with their teams, many are wondering what would have been their motive to get involved in such a scheme.
How much more do you need? Especially if you know you get caught, you can do jail time, lose your career. Put a bad image on yourself or your family.
We have to realize gambling is an addiction. So The addiction of it is what makes you make illogical decisions.
Ain't got nothing to do with addiction. That's just total stupidity on these two dudes' parts.
Now, the NBA previously investigated Rozier for that 2023 incident, but cleared him. Now, the league says it is cooperating with this investigation. As for Damon Jones, he has not responded to the allegations.
Breaking overnight, President Trump has abruptly ended trade negotiations with Canada. He says he's angry over a TV ad airing in Canada that used the voice of Ronald Reagan to criticize tariffs. Trump accuses Canada of trying to interfere with the Supreme Court, which is considering whether his tariffs are legal.
Well, another IT outage has canceled flights at Alaska Airlines, the airline grounding its entire fleet for about 3 hours last night. Now, the outage was blamed on a failure at a data center, the airline's second IT outage since July.
We're learning more about the controversial East Wing demolition at the White House. Workers now being asked to sign non-disclosure agreements. ABC's Perry Russum has the details. Hey, Perry, good morning.
Maggie, good morning to you. The entire East Wing is now gone, making way for President Trump's ballroom. Several historic trees have also been cut down for this project. This morning, the historic 120-year-old East Wing of the White House reduced to rubble. Satellite images show the dramatic transformation from less than 1 month ago to now. Along with the building, at least 6 trees have been taken down, including 2 magnolias commemorated to Presidents Warren Harding and Franklin Roosevelt, all to make room for President Trump's 90,000-square-foot ballroom. This rendering shows how the ballroom will look when completed, much larger than the White House residence.
I think there'll be nothing like it.
ABC News has learned the White House has required some construction workers to sign non-disclosure agreements, officials calling it standard practice, given the security of the White House. The Trump administration has still not submitted plans to the National Capital Planning Commission, but insists all historical artifacts from the East Wing are safely being preserved. Still more critics are speaking out. Chelsea Clinton in a USA Today op-ed writes, President Trump has the right to pave over the Rose Garden and denude it of roses, as well as turn the East Wing into a ballroom. Still, it is unsettling that such substantial alterations are being undertaken without a historic preservation review. The president says the ballroom, expected to cost $300 million, will be funded by private donations and his own money.
How much am I donating? Yes. I won't be able to tell you until I finish, but I'll donate whatever's needed, I'll tell you that.
The demolition unfolding as we enter day 24 of the government shutdown. Today, more than 500,000 federal workers are set to miss their first full paycheck. And next week, air traffic controllers will miss their first paychecks, raising concern about sick calls that could lead to widespread flight delays.
I can't guarantee you that your flight's going to be on time. I can't guarantee you that your flight's not going to be canceled.
Senate Democrats yesterday rejecting a Republican bill that would have provided pay to some federal workers during the shutdown.
Democrats are offering 2 solutions that actually include all of our federal employees, not just the ones the president picks and chooses.
Another major concern, food assistance money about to run out for millions of Americans. Political reports, at least 25 states are expected to stop paying benefits for SNAP or food stamps beginning November 1st due to the lack of federal funds during the shutdown. 1 week from tomorrow is November 1st. That's when open enrollment starts for Obamacare. Democrats say they will not vote to reopen the government until Obamacare subsidies are extended. Maggie.
Perry, thank you. Well, President Trump is defending his decision to pardon the founder of Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. Changpeng Zhao has supported the Trump family's crypto business. He served 4 months in prison after pleading guilty to money laundering, accused of helping funnel money to terrorists. Trump says many people recommended the pardon, saying Zhao wasn't guilty of anything.
Well, some more tense moments during immigration crackdowns across the country. The Border Patrol chief is accused of throwing a canister of tear gas at protesters in Chicago. A lawsuit has already been filed claiming Gregory Bovino violated a judge's order banning the use of certain tactics against protesters. And it was a chaotic scene in the San Francisco Bay Area against agents setting off smoke grenades outside a Coast Guard facility, with reports of shots fired as protesters tried to block Border Patrol vehicles. President Trump says he decided not to send troops to San Francisco after speaking to the mayor.
Federal regulators are now investigating a Chinese company whose airbag parts have exploded, causing deaths during crashes in the U.S. Officials say at least 6 people were killed when the company's airbag inflators ruptured and sprayed shrapnel into passengers. The cases involved airbags installed in 2 cars, the Chevy Malibu and the Hyundai Sonata.
Well, time now for your Friday weather.
Good morning. It's a frosty morning for parts of the Great Lakes into the mid-Atlantic, but a decent afternoon, nice in the southeast. Pretty strong front in the Pacific Northwest, some lower elevation rains, but some big snows in the Oregon Cascades, some strong winds as well. Then the big ticket item, the severe weather and the flood threat from the plains. Working into Texas, strong storms from Wichita Falls to San Angelo this afternoon. Dallas, Waco to San Antonio as we go through the evening hours. These storms contain strong winds, large hail, even an isolated tornado along with the flash flood threat. Then, in terms of Melissa, poised to strengthen this weekend, could be a major Cat 4 with rapid intensification over the weekend and just paralleling the south coast of Jamaica, battering the island for several days. There could be up to a foot of rainfall or more, flooding, mudslides, destructive winds. We have hurricane watches up for Haiti and into Jamaica. Moving forward after that, it looks like the consensus is going to go over Cuba and likely head into the Atlantic. Not really a threat to the U.S. mainland, and I think this will not happen until about midweek next week. That's your forecast. I'm ABC News meteorologist Lee Goldberg.
Well, coming up, remembering the singer behind one of the biggest songs of the 1980s.
Also ahead, Alabama carries out a controversial execution by nitrogen gas, a highly unusual response at the Supreme Court.
And a taxi driver's very close encounter with a boulder. Well, David Ball, half of the groundbreaking 80s pop duo Soft Cell, has died. The band's 1981 classic, which you hear right here, Tainted Love, was a mainstay on MTV, turning the song into a global hit. David Ball was 66 years old.
Now to Alabama and a controversial execution of a convicted killer. The method used nitrogen gas. It's sparking outrage from critics, including a Supreme Court justice. Overnight, the state of Alabama executing Anthony Boyd using nitrogen gas, despite a Supreme Court justice claiming the method is likely unconstitutional. The 54-year-old was convicted in the 1993 killing of Gregory Hewley over a $200 drug debt. Boyd appealed to the Supreme Court, asking to die by firing squad instead, but the Supreme Court denied his appeal. The three liberal justices dissented. Justice Sotomayor describing the nitrogen gas method as intense psychological torment, saying allowing it to continue despite mounting and unbroken evidence that it violates the Constitution by inflicting unnecessary suffering fails to protect the dignity of the nation. In recent weeks, Boyd's family and friends pleaded for his life to be spared.
If you could only know him, you would know he is not a bad person.
Boyd used his final words to proclaim his innocence and criticize the justice system, saying there can be no justice until we change this system. Alabama became the first state to use nitrogen gas last year when it encountered problems with lethal injection executions. Lawyers for the state argue the method is painless, with unconsciousness occurring in seconds. But some medical experts claim there's no proof that it's pain-free. The family of Anthony Boyd's victim did not comment. There have been 8 executions using nitrogen gas. Louisiana is the only other state to use this method.
Well, a cab driver overseas got the scare of his life. Excuse me. He was pulled over and heard a rumbling. It turns out it was a giant boulder coming down the hill from a work site. As you can see, he got out of the way just in time, and that giant rock crossed the road without hitting anyone.
Unbelievable. Coming up, why shoppers could be seeing changes at Target.
Also ahead, Kim Kardashian's brain aneurysm, just how common they are and their links to stress. Well, new fallout for Britain's Prince Andrew over his alleged ties to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew's banner featuring his coat of arms has been removed from Windsor Castle, a move typically reserved for someone who commits treason. Andrew recently gave up his royal titles, but denies any wrongdoing.
We turn now to Kim Kardashian, diagnosed with a brain aneurysm. They're more common than you might think. Here's ABC's Andrea Fuji.
This morning, a health scare for Kim Kardashian has people across the country asking questions about brain aneurysms.
There's like a little aneurysm. Whoa.
The reality star revealing she was diagnosed with an aneurysm after getting an MRI. The 45-year-old saying doctors told her it was likely caused by stress, which she blames on her ex-husband, Kanye West. The couple divorced in 2021.
They're like, just stress. And I'm like,
people think that I have the luxury of walking away. My ex will be in my life no matter what. We have 4 kids together.
An aneurysm is a bulge in the wall of an artery. Arteries carry blood to the heart and other body parts to supply oxygen. If the aneurysm ruptures, it can cause dangerous bleeding, stroke, or even death. Doctors say there is not a direct link between stress and aneurysms, but stress can be a contributing factor.
Certainly stress can increase the likelihood of an aneurysm forming because it raises our blood pressure and increases levels of inflammation in the body.
Nearly 7 million people in the U.S. have an unruptured brain aneurysm. That's roughly 1 in 50 people. Doctors say most aneurysms are caught before they rupture, and women are more prone.
They're also more common as we get older, peaking sort of in the 5th and 6th decades of life. So really in about our 40s, 50s, 60s, that's when we see the most of them.
Doctors say most people who have an aneurysm may not even know it. The potential symptoms include headaches, vision changes, weakness, numbness, or tingling. Maggie, Mola.
Andrea, thank you. Some changes coming to Target. It's cutting 1,800 jobs across the company as it tries to rebound from years of stagnant sales. The company's saying the cuts will allow the retailer to be more nimble. Well, coming up, Nike's new power shoe.
Plus, the funniest photos in wildlife photography. Time to check the pulse, and we begin with Nike putting some pep in your step.
Yeah, the company's calling its new power shoe an e-bike for your feet.
This is wild.
Yeah, check this out. It's billed as the world's first powered footwear system using a robotic brace to boost your walking speed.
I'm a little confused, don't lie. The powered shoes have a motor, a drive belt, and rechargeable batteries. No word how much they'll cost when they hit the market in the coming years.
Wow, impressive.
All right, well, next, Johnny Depp is stepping back into the Hollywood spotlight.
Yeah, he's going to play Scrooge. The 62-year-old has been keeping quiet since his defamation case against ex-wife Amber Heard, but now he's set to play the title role in a movie called Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol. That's due out in November 2026. Should be interesting. Next to the big winners in the Comedy Wildlife Photography Awards.
Yes, it is a real competition, and it is fabulous. We're going to start off with an elephant who's either playing peekaboo or is just very shy. Oh, what a cutie.
And this bird also having a tough time seeing. The photo appropriately entitled, Which Direction's My Nest?
All right, speaking of birds, how about this guy? Just taking a bite off more than he can chew. Oh, my gosh.
Wow, look at that. It's Pride Week. Should we all do dancing into the weekend like this little gorilla?
I love it.
Check it out.
Checking more top stories, Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat player Terry Rozier are vowing to fight charges in a gambling scandal rocking the NBA. Billups is accused of helping to lure wealthy people to rigged poker games backed by the Mafia, while Rozier faces charges tied to a sports betting scheme.
An alleged drug trafficker who escaped from house arrest in Mexico is now in U.S. custody. He's a Chinese national known as Brother Wang, accused of running a massive fentanyl and money laundering operation linked to drug cartels.
Today, New York Attorney General Letitia James makes her first court appearance since she was indicted for alleged mortgage fraud. Officials in New York held a rally last night in support of James, who was charged after President Trump publicly called on the Justice Department to prosecute her.
Well, mortgage rates are falling, now at the lowest level in more than a year. Lower rates pushing home sales higher last month.
Today's weather, chilly but dry for the Northeast and Midwest. Storms and flooding in Texas and the Plains, rain for the Northwest.
And finally, a pair of chess bros.
Yeah, they're on Team USA, and they spoke to Danny New.
He got me. That's the sound of two talented brothers who can laugh now, but not when they're competing in the same chess tournament.
He can do fine as long as I do better. So.
Thankfully, Griffin and Sullivan McConnell here are on the same team this week after flying to Kazakhstan to compete in the second ever Chess Olympiad for people with disabilities. More than 30 countries will be represented in this tournament hosted by FIDE, which is like the FIFA of chess.
We didn't think we were going to get into this tournament because there's just a lot of high stakes.
Let's start with the basics.
Okay.
This is a horse. Actually, I met with the family 3 years ago. Is it over?
Yes, I believe so.
And lost to Griffin in about 3 seconds, even though he was only about a year removed from his 4th brain surgery.
So you're saying you'd be in the middle of a chess game, have a seizure, and then go back to playing the game?
Yeah.
From an early age, Griffin kept experiencing seizures and eventually had a hemispherectomy to disconnect the two halves of his brain. However, while he was relearning all the basics like talking and speaking, guess what he says came back the easiest?
I learned how to do chess more than I wanted to walk or talk.
Thankfully, the now 21-year-old Griffin has not had documented seizure activity since, and he and Sully, who is now 18, are both considered national masters in chess.
I kind of look up to Sullivan because he knows more than I do, and so I want to try to learn and get better from my younger brother.
Well, this week as they bid for gold with Team USA, Sully has a message for anyone who may happen to beat one of them in this tournament.
If one falls, the other shall rise to take his place. And we're like a hydra.
We're rooting them on.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Such a great story. And that's your Good Morning America First Look.
Have a great Friday. Enjoy the weekend.